I was halfway through my shift when I got the email. It was from an address I didn't recognize, no reply at securemail.com. The subject line just said, "Your digital footprint." I work IT at a mid-sized accounting firm. Nothing special, just resetting passwords for boomers and occasionally fixing a printer jam. But I know my way around cybersecurity, and something about that email immediately felt off. No company branding, no disclaimer text at the bottom, just a plain black-on-white email body with a single attachment, your digital footprint.pdf. At first, I assumed it was spam. Probably some phishing attempt, but my curiosity got the better of me. I clicked. The document was 47 pages long. The first page had a greeting. "Hello, my full name. We've compiled a detailed report of your online activity. Review carefully." And then it started. Every single website I had visited for the past year. At first, it looked normal. YouTube, Reddit, Amazon, some late-night Uber Eats orders from Taco Bell. My heart rate slowed. Maybe it was just a weird tracking service, something scraping public data. But then I kept scrolling. I never went to these websites. Dark web forums with names like Red Room Live and Bodies for Sale. A website called howtodisappear.net, and pages of crime scene cleanup tutorials. I stopped breathing when I reached the Google searches. How to get rid of blood in carpet, March 8th, 2:23 a.m. Where to buy untraceable guns, April 14th, 11:46 p.m. How long does DNA stay under fingernails, May 21st, 3:38 a.m. Cheap storage unit no ID, June 4th, 1:15 p.m. I felt sick. I never searched for this. I looked at the timestamps. They were all during times I was awake, usually on my laptop or phone. I was at home, sometimes even at work. But I had never typed those words. I would remember. I scrolled faster, my hands slick with sweat. More forum posts, accounts linked to my email. Someone had been using my identity to ask for help on things that made my stomach turn. U/throwaway47, best way to dissolve teeth. Posted on our crime scene help. You need answers. Fast, is there DNA in feces? Posted on a deep web forum. U/no more evidence. Can you burn off fingerprints? I shoved my chair back, breathing hard. This was a joke, some fucked up prank. But then I saw the final page, a single line of text. Delete your accounts, you've been selected. No signature, no further instructions, just that. I didn't finish my shift. I told my boss I felt sick and walked out, my brain buzzing. I got home in 10 minutes, my apartment feeling smaller than usual. The moment I was inside, I ripped my modem out of the wall, disconnected everything. I couldn't risk being online. My phone vibrated, an unknown number. I ignored it. I needed to think. I checked my bank accounts, unchanged. No strange transactions. I checked my credit cards, normal, no identity theft. But that didn't make me feel better, because the only thing they had messed with was my search history. They didn't want money. They weren't trying to steal from me. They were doing something worse. They were making it look like I was a criminal. I sat on my couch, gripping my phone so tight my fingers ached. I kept staring at that last line. Delete your accounts. You've been selected. Selected for what? My breathing was uneven, and I realized I was shaking. This wasn't just identity theft. Whoever did this wanted me to see it. They wanted me to know I wasn't just being watched, I was being set up. I turned my phone back on. A flood of notifications came in. Missed calls, texts from unknown numbers, a few voicemails. My heart pounded as I opened the first message. Unknown. You should have deleted your accounts. My stomach dropped. The message had no timestamp, like it had been sent in real time, overriding my phone's normal display settings. I checked my email. Another message from the same address. No subject. Just an attachment named WeSeeYou.move. I didn't want to open it. Every instinct screamed, Don't. But I had to know. The video started in darkness, then a faint red glow, like a recording light on a camera. Then I saw my own apartment, my living room, my couch, the same couch I was sitting on right now. I shot up, knocking over my coffee table. My pulse was a hammer in my skull. The camera angle was high up, like it was coming from a corner of the ceiling. But I had no security cameras. Nothing. The video played in silence. Then movement. Something shifted on the screen. A figure, not me. A man standing just out of frame, watching. I spun around, expecting to see him right behind me. But there was no one there, just my empty apartment, dimly lit by the glow of my laptop screen. The video continued. The man took a slow step forward. I couldn't see his face. He was wearing something dark, almost blending into the shadows. But I could tell he was tall. The way he moved was wrong. Not robotic, not unnatural, just too calm. Like he wasn't worried about being seen, like he belonged there. I paused the video, then something worse. The timestamp. It was from 20 minutes ago. I felt a wave of nausea. Had someone been in my apartment? I ran to my door, locked. The windows are locked. I checked every closet, under the bed, even the fucking kitchen cabinets. Nothing. But I knew what I saw. I played the video again, this time forcing myself to watch. The man moved slowly through my apartment. He reached out, dragging his fingers along my walls, my furniture. Then he stopped, right in front of the camera. For the first time I could make out his face. Only it wasn't a face at all, it was blurred, like someone had smeared Vaseline over the lens. Or like the camera refused to capture him. I froze. He was holding something, a knife, long, thin, not a kitchen knife, something surgical. And then the worst part, he turned, looked directly at the camera, and smiled. A wide, stretched-out grin, like his skin barely fit over his skull. Like he was enjoying this. Then, static. The video cut off. I sat there, my ears ringing. I needed to get out. I grabbed my keys, my laptop, my wallet. I wasn't staying here. I didn't care where I went, just somewhere with people. I threw open my door and almost ran straight into my neighbor. Old guy, mid-60s, always smelled like cigarettes and cheap cologne. I never talked to him much, just the occasional nod in the hallway. But now, he was just standing there, staring at me. His eyes flicked down to my shaking hands, the laptop under my arm. "You okay, kid?" I opened my mouth, nothing came out. I must have looked insane, sweating, wide-eyed, probably pale as hell. I forced myself to nod. "Yeah, just needed some air." He didn't move, didn't blink. Then he said real quiet, "You should leave." I felt ice crawl down my spine. "What?" He leaned in, lowered his voice. "You shouldn't be here right now." My blood ran cold. Before I could respond, he turned and walked away. I didn't wait. I bolted for the stairs, down 3 flights, out onto the street. The air was thick, humid, but I barely felt it. I looked around, expecting to see him, the man from the video. But the street was empty, just rows of parked cars, the dull hum of a streetlight flickering above me. I needed a plan. I couldn't go to the cops. What the fuck would I even say? Hey, someone faked my internet history and sent me a video of a guy in my apartment, but now he's gone. They'd think I was having a mental break. I thought about checking into a hotel, but something told me this wouldn't stop just because I changed locations. I needed answers. I checked my phone again. One more new message. Unknown. Going somewhere? I nearly dropped my phone. They were watching me. Right fucking now, I felt like I was being hunted. My eyes darted around the street, searching for whoever was watching me, but there was no one. No cars pulling away, no figures lurking under streetlights, just the empty sidewalk and the dull, neon glow from the liquor store across the road. My phone buzzed again. Unknown. You're making this difficult. I wanted to throw my fucking phone into traffic. My skin felt tight, my mouth dry. My brain was screaming, run, hide, disappear. But I had nowhere to go. I needed help. I opened my contacts and scrolled, stopped at one name. Mikey. I hadn't talked to him in months, but I knew he'd answer. He owed me. I hit dial. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then, click. Yo. His voice was groggy, like I woke him up. Mikey, I whispered, stepping further into the shadows of a closed laundromat. I need a favor. Hey, shit, man. You sound like you just killed somebody. I almost laughed. Not yet. That woke him up. The fuck's going on? I hesitated. I couldn't tell him everything. Not over the phone. I'll explain when I get there. You home? Yeah. You good? No. Silence. Then, come through? I hung up and started walking, my pulse hammering. Mikey lived on the other side of town, near one of those 24-hour diners where junkies and truckers shared booths like some fucked up sitcom. He used to run scams, carding, phishing, deep web shit, until he pissed off the wrong people and crawled back into the real world. If anyone could tell me what the fuck was happening, it was him. I kept my head down as I walked. Every shadow felt wrong. Every passing car made my chest tighten. I was not alone. I could feel it. A presence, a weight. Someone was following me. I cut through an alley, moving fast. My heart was in my throat. The alley opened up to a parking lot behind a row of apartments. I slipped between 2 cars, crouching low. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not rushed, not running, just walking, slow, measured. I held my breath. The footsteps stopped right near me. A long, agonizing silence. Then a click, a fucking camera shutter. I snapped my head up. Nothing. I scrambled up, spinning in circles. The lot was empty. No cars driving by, no people on the sidewalk. Just the distant hum of the city. But I knew what I heard. I checked my phone. No new messages, no pictures sent to me. I didn't wait around. I ran. Mikey lived in a rundown walk-up above a liquor store. The moment he let me in, I locked the door behind me. He gave me a look. Dude, I'm being set up, I panted, still catching my breath. His apartment was a mess. Empty Modelo cans, overflowing ashtrays, a half-eaten box of Wingstop on the coffee table. It smelled like weed and burnt plastic. He sat on the couch, scratching his jaw. Talk. I told him everything. The email, the fucked-up browsing history, the video, the messages. By the time I finished, he looked pale. Jesus. You ever heard of something like this? I asked. He didn't answer right away. He stood up, pacing, running a hand through his hair. The deep web's got all kinds of fucked up rabbit holes, man, but this is different. Different how? He stopped pacing, looked at me. This isn't just some hacker. This is like orchestrated. I swallowed hard. By who? He let out a dry laugh. I don't fucking know, man, but if someone's planting shit like that on your accounts, they're not just messing with you. They're building a case. That hit me like a punch to the gut. A case? Mikey sat back down, rubbing his temples. They're making it look like you're dangerous, like you're planning something. I felt ice in my veins. Planning what? He didn't answer. I stood up, suddenly nauseous. I need to wipe my shit. Already on it? He grabbed his laptop and started typing fast, his fingers flying across the keys. I watched over his shoulder as he pulled up my accounts. Then he froze. Well, I asked. He didn't speak, just moved aside so I could see. Every single one of my accounts was already deleted. My heart stopped. I know. We sat in stunned silence, just staring at the screen. It was like I never existed. Mikey let out a shaky breath. Dude, you need to disappear. A sharp knock at the door. We both jumped. Mikey turned to me, eyes wide. "You tell anyone you were coming here?" I shook my head, my stomach sinking. The knock came again, harder this time. I grabbed my phone and checked the screen. A new message. Unknown. "Come outside." Mikey and I locked eyes. Neither of us moved. The knock came again, louder. Whoever was on the other side wasn't leaving. I gripped my phone so tight my fingers hurt. The message was still on the screen. Unknown. "Come outside." Mikey's breathing had changed, shallow, fast. His hand was near the coffee table, fingers twitching towards something under a pile of mail. Another knock. But this time, it wasn't a knock. It was a fist against the door. Boom, boom, boom. I glanced at Mikey. "Do you have a gun?" He hesitated, then nodded. Boom, boom, boom. The doorframe shook. I took a step back. "Who the fuck?" "Shh." Mikey's voice was barely a whisper. He moved to the window, lifting the curtain an inch. I watched his face, waiting for some kind of reaction. His lips parted, eyes wide. I felt dread roll over me. "What?" He didn't answer, just backed away, slow, shaking his head. Then his laptop screen went black. We both jumped. The only light left was the dull yellow glow from his kitchen. Mikey cursed under his breath and smacked the keyboard. Nothing. I turned back to my phone. My messages had vanished. Not just the one from unknown, all of them. My entire message history was gone. Boom, boom, boom. A pause. Then the doorknob twisted. I grabbed Mikey's arm. "Back door?" He nodded, already moving. We slipped through the kitchen into a narrow hallway lined with rotting cardboard boxes and an old bike missing both wheels. Mikey threw open a door at the end, the fire escape. I stepped out first. The metal stairs rattled under my weight. The air was thick with the smell of fried food and garbage. Mikey was right behind me. We moved fast, our footsteps echoing through the alley below. Then, the door above us creaked open. I made the mistake of looking up. A figure stood at the top of the fire escape. Not moving, not chasing, just watching. The same way he did in the video. My whole body went cold. Mikey grabbed my arm, yanking me down the last few steps. We hit the pavement and ran. We didn't stop running until we were 6 blocks away. Mikey doubled over, hands on his knees, gasping for air. I wasn't much better. My chest felt like it was going to collapse. We were standing outside a 24-hour laundromat. Fluorescent lights hummed above us, casting everything in a sickly blue tint. The place was empty except for a woman folding towels in the corner, her toddler playing with a vending machine. Mikey finally straightened. That was him, wasn't it? I swallowed hard. I don't know. He grabbed my shirt, shoving me against the glass window. "You don't fucking know?" His voice was low, furious. "That was the same motherfucker from your video." I shoved him off. "I know!" We stood there, breathing hard, glaring at each other. Then Mikey's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, looked at the screen, and froze, his face drained of color. "What?" I asked. He didn't answer, just turned the phone toward me, a message. Unknown. Stop helping him. Mikey's hands started to shake. "No, man. Number fuck this. I'm out." "What?" I said I'm out. He shoved his phone in his pocket and backed away. "I don't know what the fuck you're caught up in, but I'm not dying over it." I grabbed his arm. "Mikey." He yanked away. "I tried to help you, man, but this is different. This is real." Before I could say anything else, he turned and started walking, fast. I watched him disappear down the sidewalk, and just like that I was alone. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go home. I couldn't go back to Mikey's. The cops were out of the question, so I did the only thing I could think of. I walked into the laundromat. The woman barely looked up as I sat in a plastic chair near the door. The toddler glanced at me, then went back to slapping the vending machine. I needed to think. I pulled out my phone. Still no messages, no contacts, nothing. Whoever was behind this had full control. And then I remembered something. I opened my browser and typed in my email provider's website. Hit forgot password. A prompt popped up. Enter your recovery email. I hesitated, then typed in my backup. The one I barely used. A loading screen, then no account found. I stared at the screen. That wasn't possible. I used that email for years. I tried my other accounts. Same message. I checked my bank app. Access denied. I checked my PayPal, Venmo, Cash app. No record of my account existing. A chill spread through my entire body. They weren't just wiping my digital presence, they were erasing me. The front door of the laundromat opened. I didn't look up at first, just kept staring at my useless fucking phone. Then I noticed the woman across from me had stopped folding her towels. The toddler wasn't moving anymore. The laundromat was silent. My pulse spiked. Slowly I raised my head. A man stood in the doorway, tall, dressed in dark clothes. His face was blurred. I felt my stomach drop. He took a step forward. I bolted. I ran. I didn't think. I didn't look back. I just tore out of the laundromat and into the street, nearly getting clipped by a passing Uber. The driver laid on the horn, but I barely heard it. My whole body was screaming, "Move!" I didn't stop until I was 2 blocks away, ducking into the shadows of a closed pawn shop. My chest burned. My lungs felt like they were shutting down. I peeked around the corner. The man was still there, standing outside the laundromat, not chasing me, just watching. The woman and the kid were frozen. They hadn't moved at all, like someone had paused them. Then the lights inside flickered, and the man turned his head toward me. Not his body, just his head. A slow, unnatural tilt, like his neck was made of wet rope. I stumbled back, heart hammering. I needed to get the fuck out of the city. I made it to the train station in under 10 minutes. The place was mostly empty, just a few people scattered around, half asleep on benches, a janitor mopping up what looked like dried puke near a ticket machine. I paid in cash, bought the next outbound ticket to anywhere. Then I found a seat in the farthest, darkest corner of the platform and tried to breathe. I pulled out my phone. Not to check messages, there was nothing left to check, but to do one last search. I typed, "Delete your accounts. You've been selected." Hit enter. The screen loaded for half a second. Then, no results found. I frowned. That wasn't right. Even the most obscure searches still showed something. I tried different phrases. Hacker erased my life. Fake browsing history planted on my account. Someone is trying to frame me. Nothing. Not a single hit. It was like the entire concept of what was happening to me didn't exist. I gripped my phone tighter. This was wrong. My train arrived. I exhaled, stood up, and stepped toward the platform. Then I saw the reflection in the window. Someone was standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing. The station was exactly as it had been. The janitor, the sleeping passengers, the flickering vending machine in the corner. But I knew what I saw. I turned back to the train. The doors hissed open. I stepped inside. I picked a window seat. The train was mostly empty. Just a few night shift workers and some guy in a hoodie hunched over his phone. I slumped against the window, my whole body aching. The train lurched forward, pulling away from the station. For the first time all night, I felt a tiny bit of relief. I was leaving. I stared out at the city lights blurring past, trying to convince myself it was over, that they'd lose track of me. Then I saw the reflection in the glass. A man sitting 2 rows behind me. I couldn't see his face, but I knew it was him, my entire body locked up, my hands clenched into fists. I couldn't breathe. Slowly I turned my head. The seat was empty. My stomach dropped. I turned back to the window. He was closer. 1 row behind me now, still blurred, still watching. I shot up, stumbling into the aisle. The other passengers barely reacted, like they didn't even see me. I turned fast. The row behind me was empty. I was losing it. I gripped the overhead bar, trying to keep myself steady. The train rocked, the fluorescent lights buzzing like dying insects. Then my phone vibrated. A new message. Unknown. You can't run. I looked up. He was sitting right across from me. The blur over his face shifted, almost like it was breathing, pulsing. I couldn't move. My body felt paralyzed. He reached into his coat, slowly, deliberate, and pulled out a phone, my phone. I looked down at my hand, gripping my own device so hard my knuckles were white, but it was still vibrating, still ringing with another new message. Unknown. We've been waiting. I looked back up. The man was gone, but my phone was still ringing, still vibrating in my hand. My screen was blacked out. Just 2 words flashing over and over. Incoming call. Incoming call. Incoming call. I knew deep down that if I answered it, if I even touched the screen, it would all be over. I gripped the phone, my heart slamming against my ribs. Then for the first time I noticed something else. The train was completely silent. The humming of the tracks was gone. The buzz of the overhead lights was gone. I turned my head. Every single passenger was staring at me, mouths slightly open, eyes blank, like dolls. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor with a dull thud. The passengers smiled. All at once, I lunged for the emergency brake. My fingers slammed into the lever, and the train went black. I woke up in an alley. No train, no passengers, no tracks, just the dim glow of a streetlight and the sound of distant sirens. I sat up too fast, my head spinning. My clothes were damp. My phone was still in my hand. The screen cracked down the middle. I checked it. Everything was back. My messages, my emails, my accounts, my bank, all of it, like nothing had ever happened. I climbed to my feet, stumbling out onto the main road. A few cars drove past, but no one stopped. The city felt normal, too normal. I checked my phone again, opened my emails. No messages from unknown, no digital footprint attachment. I searched my browsing history. Nothing. I checked the photos in my phone. My breath caught in my throat. The last photo was a screenshot of a video, my own apartment, my own couch, and a man standing in the doorway. His face was blurred. There was no caption, no sender, just a time stamp. Tomorrow night, 2:34 a.m.